Look at me when I'm speaking to you, Michael. Her knuckles whitened around the edge of the counter. Did you or did you not take $20 from my purse yesterday morning? His gaze remained fixed on the worn pattern between his sneakers. Yes, ma'am. The admission came out thick, like syrup poured in winter. She didn't raise her voice. That was the terrifying part. The calm, surgical precision of each word. That money was for Mr. Henderson's medication. She trusted me to bring it to you after your father's shift. Her eyes tracked a droplet of water sliding down the faucet's neck. You watched her crying in our driveway last week when the pharmacy turned her away. Did you think about that? Michael's throat tightened. He remembered the old woman trembling hands clutching her worn coat, the raw, sheer panic in her eyes as he tried to forget. No, ma'am. The words scraped raw against his tongue. Her palm slapped the countertop, a single sharp crack that made her shoulders jerk. You traded her heart medication for what? Candy bars? A video game token? The quiet fury in her voice carved deeper than any shout. Look at me when I'm talking to you. He forced his eyes up to meet hers, dark and liquid with disappointment. Stealing is a coward's choice. Always. She leaned towards, her shadow swallowing him whole. Tomorrow, you will walk to Mr. Jenkins' hardware store. You ask him for 10 hours of the filthiest work he's got, and every penny you earn goes towards Mrs. Henderson's hand, with an apology that means something. Her fingers jabbed the air inches from his chest. You earn back trust, one blister at a time. Do you understand? Michael flinched, his yes, ma'am, barely above a whisper. He remembered Mrs. Henderson's cracked voice, thanking his mom last Tuesday for the grocery run. Her thin shoulders hunched over that faded floral coat. The image of her waiting for their porch step yesterday morning, clutching her empty prescription bag, suddenly burned hotter than any candy bar's fleeting sweetness. His mother didn't move, blocking the kitchen's doorway. Your father's worked double shifts this month to cover our own bills, she said, the calm silence deeper than any yell. That $20, it wouldn't spare change. It was the gas money he left so I could drive to the night shift. Her knuckles relaxed slightly on the counter, revealing crescented-shaped indents in her skin. Mr. Henderson's angina pills cost exactly $19.95. The pharmacy wouldn't hold them another day. Michael swallowed hard. The worn pattern blurred as his eyes stung. He remembered his father leaving before dawn, shoulders slumped with exhaustion. The thermos of bitter coffee clutched a lifeline. The candy bar suddenly tasted like ash in his memory. Yes, ma'am, he choked out, the words escaping raw. She stepped aside, finally. Go to your room. Think about what trust costs. Her voice remained low. The exhaustion in it was heavier than anger. And Michael? He paused, halfway through the doorway. Pack your work clothes tonight. Mr. Jenkins opens at 6. Alone in his room, the silence pressed on. Outside, the street lights casted long, accusing shadows. He pulled his worn jeans and thickest shirt from his drawer, the fabric rough against his fingers. The muffled sound of his mother dialing the phone drifted under the door, likely calling Mrs. Henderson, explaining the delay, swallowing his shame for him. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the calluses already forming in his palms. Tomorrow wouldn't just be about blisters. It was about learning the weight of a $1 bill and the heavy burden of a broken promise. Morning arrived, cold and gray, biting at his cheeks as he walked the empty streets. The hardware store's neon lights flickered weakly in the pre-dawn gloom. Mr. Jenkins, wiping grease from his hand from a rag, listened without expression as Michael stammered out of his mother's instructions. The old man simply nodded towards the back alley piled high with discarded lumber, rusted pipes, and mountains of filthy insulation scraps. "Sort it," he grunted. "Metal pile, wood pile, trash pile. Wear gloves." The work was brutal. Splinters dug into his knuckles despite the gloves. Dust choked him, clung to sweat, and tasted like bitter chalk. Hauling waterlogged drywall felt like lifting concrete. Each groan of protest died in his throat, replaced by the image of Mrs. Henderson's trembling hands, clutching that empty prescription bag. His muscles screamed, his back ached, but the physical pain was easier than the knot of shame tightening in his chest. At noon, Mr. Jenkins handed him a $10 bill and a crumpled $5. "Lunch break," he said, his voice softer now. Michael clutched the money, the paper damp from his sweat. It felt impossibly light for the agony it represented, yet heavier than any $20 bill he had ever stolen. He didn't buy lunch. He walked straight to Mrs. Henderson's small, neat house, the coins jiggling like tiny bells of reckoning in his pocket, rehearsing the apology that needed to mean everything. Her porch step creaked under his weight. When she opened the door, her eyes whitened slightly at his filthy overalls and scraped knuckles. "Michael?" she asked, her voice thin but kind. He held out the $15, his hands trembling not from exhaustion, but from the raw shame of meeting her gaze. "For your medicine, ma'am," he stammered, "and I'm real sorry." The words tasted like dust and regret, thick and choking. He saw her frail fingers close gently around the crumpled bills. She didn't scold or lecture. Instead, he touched his grimy wrist with surprising warmth. "You worked hard for this," she murmured, her eyes holding a quiet misunderstanding that cut deeper than any anger ever could. Michael stared at the warm welcome mat, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. Her forgiveness felt heavier than the insulation he held all morning. Back at home, his mother stood in the kitchen window watching. She didn't ask questions when he walked in, just slid a plate of cold sandwiches across the table. He ate in silence, the taste of dust still coating his tongue. Every bite a reminder of the morning's labor. His hands shook slightly as he lifted the glass of water. Raw knuckles stinging against the cold surface. The $15 gap between stealing and earning had never felt wider.